Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm going to rant about this. From GameSpot, NBA 2K21 adds unskippable ads despite being a full-price game. Players are seeing ads for the Oculus Quest 2 in-game and they can't be skipped. Wait, you actually paid this much money to a game that is practically just a reskin of the previous game, which is also a reskin of the previous game, and you're still seeing ads. Holy shit. 2K really likes to milk their customers. Then again, that's what to be expected by a company who likes to do some certain unethical exclusive Jesus Christ. Unethical exclusive games on a very shitty store, which is the games Epic Games Store, eggs, which I hated. It's a massive, huge piece of shit who is a conglomeration or an amalgamation of crappy games, mostly are crappy games. Why? Because apparently the developers kind of have learned about the backlash they get if they go exclusive to the X game store. And only people who are very kind of certain that their game is going to be shitty goes to Epic Game Store. But the earlier games that went to Epic Game Store as exclusive doesn't actually instantly mean that they are crap. This goes for Hades, for instance. But the games after a certain threshold, I think... Wait, this started on December 2018, so I think more or less games from March or April from 2019 started to be pretty shitty that went to Epic Game Store, so not even worth your time, to be frank. Anyway, so 2K does that, it doesn't care about their customers, and it charges a yearly reskin that may cost up to $100. Who the fuck has the money to buy a game like that? Couldn't they just release a yearly game which is pretty much just a reskin and sell it to far more people and get a better, I don't know, a better reputation with the gamers themselves by releasing it, I don't know, make it a $20, a $30 game. So that's it. That's amount that would be great. But then again, the NBA seems, they could also be profiting from this, so maybe that explains why it costs so much. Back to the article, this is a tactic we are used to seeing in free-to-play titles, but NBA 2K21 is a full-price title, and depending on which version you bought, it can cost up to $100. Here's a video recorded by Steve Vivor of one of the ads playing the game's My Team mode, which has now entered Season 2. 2K has steadily added these ads well after reviews of the game has hit, which were already scored lower than previous entries in the series. GameSpot gave NBA 2K21 a 6 of 10. They also come weeks after players may have committed to purchasing the game. The NBA 2K series has already received criticism for its focus on monetization and microtransactions. Beyond the initial cost of the game, these ads will likely make things worse for the series' reputation. EA UFC 4 similarly added and then soon removed unskippable ads between rounds. Look, if you're going to waste that much money on a crappy reskin, then at least you need to have the right of not having to see shitty ads on your goddamn fucking game. Even more so, you are not even benefiting out of it. You're not getting anything free out of it. You're not getting any little booster pack or some multiple shitty stuff that free-to-play games add when you watch those shitty ads, or you're not getting a free game for watching this shitty ad, which at least the free-to-play games have an excuse to do. What in the actual fuckity fuck is wrong with the people behind 2K? Are they retarded? Well, possibly. Anyway, back to the news. It remains to be seen whether 2K will keep these ads in the game long term, or whether it will cycle between different products over time. We also don't know if they'll be present in more expensive PS5 and Xbox Series X, Series S versions of the game, which may feature shorter load times in which to insert such ads. We've reached out to 2K for further details, and we'll report back with anything we learn. Let me drink some coffee, because this needs coffee. Delicious. Now, this is something that needs to be said. For instance, I think when those more expensive consoles, the next generation of consoles hit, which they seem to use SSD for their hard drives, they may actually load the game, but the ad will still keep playing in the background, but the game will have finished loading, but you still have to watch all the ads before you can actually go and play. I think that might be what they will do if the ads runs much further or more than the loading time of the game. And that's definitely kind of worrisome, because you are supposedly paying for the privilege to play a reskin game, and it's already costing you a very pretty penny just to play a subpar game. It's not really that worth it, and they are abusing their customers. Well, let's keep going. Previous games, including NBA 2K20, have also featured in-game ads, and they too were met with a great deal of frustration from fans. Notably, the franchise features no real competition, with EA's NBA Live series having gone away years ago. That's left the 2K series as the only viable option for fans looking to pick up a new simulation-style basketball game, a point referenced by Reddit user RiddleGaming21. Okay, thanks. I truly don't know what to do or say anymore. A monopoly for a single genre of video games. Basketball, they wrote. Honestly, I don't even think there is a way to make me want to play anymore, and that truly upsets and disappoints me. NBA 2K21 is coming to both next-gen systems at launch with numerous improvements. That version will cost $70. Are you shitting me? You're actually having to pay $70 for a game which is just a filthy reskin, and you still have to watch an unskippable ad. No, not even unskippable. I'm gonna say ad. Just an ad. You shouldn't even be watching a goddamn ad. You shouldn't even be seeing a single ad in the game. Sure, present themselves the ads around the court or things like that, which is usually what you see when you watch a basketball game or any sports really. But if you play an ad when you are loading the game or doing anything else, that shouldn't be the standard. That shouldn't be done. This is bullshit. And if the guy here talking about Monopoly, I think I know a bit way too much about Monopoly in games, especially in simulation games. For instance, right now, you don't have anything even remotely coming close to a modern version of a combat flight simulator. Modern as in for modern airplanes, like DCS World. So they feel the absolute need to overcharge you for everything and release subpar patches. And they release the subpar patches, and you actually have to keep using them, mostly because they release it on their beta. And you're actually part of having to use the beta to actually play the game on normally. It's the stable is usually when they release the stable version, it's usually the discarded version. Or for instance, when they released a module, which is usually a plane, and it costs 80, 90 bucks or even more depending on the airplane, you actually can only play it if you choose to play it on the beta version. That's interesting. It's them pushing that the idea that the player should actually choose to play the beta instead of the stable version. And even more so, their support is absolutely shitty, to say the least. They have promised features since the very first time that Lock On, which is the predecessor to DCS World, in 1999, 2000 more or less, and we still haven't seen a single iota of that feature in the game, which is the dynamic campaign. They promised it will release on Lock On with a dynamic campaign, and what we get? Absolutely nothing. It's annoying when you have a monopoly, and I know that for years and years, it's over decades with something like this. And when they released an airplane, they don't actually release that plane that is even mostly complete. For instance, they released the F-16 last year, which was mostly incomplete. There had a lot of things missing. They even released the F-18 lacking the friend or foe identification on your radar, so when you were on multiplayer, which is the only viable option for you to play this game, because otherwise it's just a boring shit show, you actually had to be very careful, or otherwise you would shoot down a friendly airplane, and that was difficult. Because there are servers in which you fight against enemy players and friendly players, and there are servers in which you play only with friendly players against an AI. And if you're not careful, and sometimes the enemy airplanes would actually be inside of your friendly territory, and you wouldn't even know if you're targeting a friendly or a foe. And that was nightmarish. I hate Monopoly. I wish we had a goddamn competition. The last good competition we had for the modern combat simulators like that was with Falcon 4.0, and that was over 20 years ago. Right now we have promises of one coming up from old Micropros, but it's kind of like a vaporware for now. And so I understand completely what this guy is saying with the NBA thing here, which I sympathize completely, because I've been suffering under the monopoly bullshit for years. Oh, not only that, Prepared and all the other flight simulators, or Flight Simulator 10 or X in this case, Flight Simulator 9, etc. The add-on makers, they usually charge a pretty penny for an airplane. For instance, Flight Sim Labs was actually charging for a single variant of an airplane, which is I think it was A320 or the A321 from Airbus. It was costing $120 to $140 for a single airplane, and they still would actually practically spy on your computer because of their copy protection system. That was bullshit. So I understand. I feel him. I understand completely what Real Gaming 21 is going through. So I understand. I know how bad it can get. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, because YouTube apparently hates me. Just today I got a notification from a very old video in which I praised America, titled America Fuck Yeah, and it got a notification that it was now labeled as not suitable for little children. well, I kind of understand it, but it's a 2017 video. And that's a very, very old video. Only now you got that flagged. It's worrisome. Anyway, thank you for watching, and good night.